Hello everyone, welcome to the Museum of Indian Securities Market. Today we have with us Dr. D.B. Pathak, Professor Emeritus at IIT Bombay. Dr. Pathak has made immense contributions in the field of science and technology for the last 50 years in various capacities and continues to do so. Owing to Dr. Pathak's distinguished contributions in this field, he was awarded Padma Shri by the President of India. In the financial market landscape, Dr. Pathak has been associated with various esteemed institutions. To name a few, he has chaired technical committees of MCA 21, GSTN, GEM, and currently is chairing Technical Advisory Committee of SEBI. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you us today.
Thank you.
To begin with, sir, since you have a vast experience in the field of science and technology, so what is your take on the influence of technological advancements on stock market and investor behavior? And are you satisfied with the manner in which SEBI has kept pace with these advancements?
A very interesting question, because I have been fortunate enough to have been associated with SEBI almost right from the inception. I must tell you that initially technology infusion in our share markets was not much. In fact, at that time, at one time, there was only Bombay Stock Exchange. Today, it is an absolutely professional body, but many of us sarcastically used to call it a family business. At that time came one person, I think from IDBI, Dr. Patil, whom I used to call Miracle Man of India. He conceived that any Indian anywhere in India should be able to do trading using a VSAT in the sky and a terminal in front of him. It was almost unimaginable, but he converted that idea into reality, and that is how NSE was formed. Yes. We all know how rapidly NSE progressed, primarily built around the technology that they deployed. And then BSE also changed. So I would think that Indian stock markets have an Indian capital market system has moved very rapidly in the early days and has since kept pace with the changing technology through and through. I am very proud of the fact that we are second to none in terms of technology deployment in the markets as compared to any other country in the world.
Thank you, sir. Moving to our second question, sir. In which area, rather I would say areas, do you see artificial intelligence and machine learning having the greatest impact in securities market space?
Artificial intelligence and machine learning are the keywords that every youth in the world knows of. The field is not new, by the way. In 1972, I recall having studied a book written by Professor Duda and Hart on supervised and unsupervised classification being covered in that book, pattern recognition. So artificial intelligence existed even then. The difference is, in those days, neither adequate data was available to train the machine learning algorithms, nor enough computing power existed. I mean, I recall having started work with computers which used paper tape and had electronic wall memory and then mainframes and other things. In the 21st century, things changed rapidly because A, huge amount of storage became available at affordable cost. B, processing power simply galloped. And most important, data collection activity through variety of applications that people use, plus devices like IoT devices and all. For the first time, it is now possible that the machine learning algorithm that you design can learn rapidly because huge amount of data that is available to them and huge processing power is available. ChatGPT is merely the latest version that people see. I am convinced that artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to make deep impacts in every field of life, including the security markets, which are just one part of the human activity. In exactly which way it would make an impact, very difficult to guess. It will probably have some impact on the kind of algorithmic trading that happens. It would have impact on the way the investors will start using the expertise, so you never know. But I think the next 10 to 20 years are going to be very exciting.
And sir, with respect to SEBI private cloud infrastructure evolving, so what are the cyber security risks and challenges that cloud computing introduces, and what preemptive measures need to be taken to obviate them?
It's a very good and pertinent question. But before answering that, let me recall a chain of activities that SEBI has taken on technology fronts to put the context, and then perhaps an answer would be right. So, I told you about the miracle man, Dr. Patil's work, but even subsequently, for example, there was a time when, some of the brokers and all indulged in funny activities which we called insider trading, round robbing, kite flying, all kinds of names. I didn't know them incidentally, but I learned about it. And SEBI, like other regulators, had a challenge in monitoring as to who is doing what. So a surveillance system was to be built. At that time, Mr. Vajpayee was the chairman. I had been advisor to LIC when I was LIC chairman. So he called me where the finance ministry was telling him to get a system from United States. It was a state-of-art surveillance system and so on. And when he asked me, I said, look, the country writes software for the whole world. So why not we do an RFP and find out the best solution, and the one which is permitted to be customized by us, and the one which will own the customization. He agreed. We did that. And I tell you, the core software that was selected was from an Australian company, and SEBI built one of the best surveillance systems then in the world. And SEBI has still been using it. Subsequently, they built a data warehouse which would store years of data of all the orders, trades, everything. This data warehouse was a natural consequence to the surveillance system which was built. Today, this large data warehouse actually helps all our, not just investigation department, but even other activities, such as the way the market is moving, the way the growth has been happening. It's an amazing thing. Now I come to your question. So far, SEBI has built these technologies which are, by the way, this data warehouse technology or the product was built when Mr. Chandu Bhave was the chairman. I happened to be privileged to have advised him when he was chairman of NSDL, and he continued the association here. Now you will notice that old style data warehouses were built on hardware which was put on the premises. So you had a series of servers, large storage, etc., etc. The cloud is a natural consequence. Instead of putting that on proprietary hardware, if you try to deploy your data on a large cloud, then cloud has tremendous advantages. First of all, it has a set of servers which are all virtualized environment. So you don't depend upon any proprietary sort of hardware or software there. You can build generalized virtual systems and you can build your data. You have public cloud, which is large cloud centers which are set up by people, but you can also have a private cloud. And wherever your data is critical, like in financial institutions or SEBI, where we do not want even a chance of the data being accessed by anybody else, suppose we put it on public cloud and the security is not adequate or something. So we are building our own private cloud. But it is cloud meaning entire cloud technology can be used. So you see, all the SEBI is doing is extending the steps that it has been taking, culminating into the private cloud. I was fortunate enough to have been associated with that cloud project when I was advising SEBI on, and I tell you, uh, we are going absolutely as per plan. The basic hardware infrastructure is there. You asked about security. Yes, cloud security has to be handled slightly differently than the security of the conventional system. But let me just tell you that enormous precautions have been taken to ensure that not an iota of doubt should exist about the security of our data and all. So the cyber security considerations that have been put into the cloud system that we're building are absolutely state of the art, and they match whatever is best practice anywhere in the world, no doubt about it.
Sir, since you are currently the chair of our technical advisory committee, so with respect to Indian standards for disaster recovery and plan and business continuity plan of our market infrastructure institutions, so what do you feel, how effective are they and how efficient are they with respect to the global standards?
Good question, particularly relevant because occasionally you read in the newspapers of some glitch on this board and some glitch elsewhere. Of course, I don't blame the newspapers. It is their job to bring out all news, positive or negative. But I must say that it is unfortunate that such things are blown out of proportion. I have been associated with financial systems and banks. I am associated with this. I also know of large systems, including bourses and regulators in other countries, and the kind of glitches that we are talking about are something that have happened anywhere and everywhere in the world. But barring that, your question is the right question. What about the infrastructure? What about its efficiency, efficacy and security? I will tell you the infrastructure of Indian institutions which participate, what we call the major market institutions, their infrastructure, their readiness is second to none. We have absolutely perfectly planned basic infrastructure of what we call the DC or data center sites. We have very good DR sites, and SEBI TAC, I mean, I have become chair only last year, but right from the beginning has been advising all the institutions, had been supervising all the institutions on whether they maintain the correct standards, the cutting edge standards of not just the technology infrastructure, but the software and the processes that they follow. Talking about DC and DR site, for example, data center and disaster recovery site, what is not known to general people is that, of course, every institution has a DC and DR site, but what is less known is at regular intervals, these institutions shift their operations from data center to DR site without the world even coming to know about it, and they seamlessly function. Okay, so in terms of the business continuity, again I would say we are second to none in the world. Certain glitches that are seen happening, they happen everywhere in the world, but otherwise I think we have one of the most robust and cutting edge technology platforms and the associated operational processes which guarantee that our business continuity is.
Sir, one last question. It's about the softer side of technology. With respect to SEBI, can technology help SEBI become a more people-friendly organization? Would like to know your views on that.
Very good question. As is natural for most regulators in the world, SEBI has traditionally remained sort of aloof and away, and they are seen as controllers of activities rather than facilitators. But this has been changing. I recall last year to our chairperson Madhvi Puri Buch when I made a suggestion that we should have a open conclave with the institutions, with people, market forces. she readily agreed, and Mr. Amarjit, our executive director, actually conducted the first ever conclave like that. And I will tell you that the participating representatives of all the market institutions, whether it is NSE, BSE or NSDL and others, it was so fascinating to see that people opened up to ask questions, SEBI opened up to ask questions. All questions were related to technology and its deployment. All questions were naturally related to the kind of regulations and why they are required and so on. But it was an open house. So I tell you, I don't think SEBI has used the technology in the past to reach out to normal Indian investor, which is the second aspect. SEBI has now opened up significantly to all market institutions, and that will go a long way in establishing a good rapport between the regulator and the regulated. But the most important is going out to people, convincing them that investing in stock market is easy, is safe and is useful. I'll tell you one small anecdote. I had visited China with a SEBI team at that time. I think member Mr. Verma was there many years ago. And we were talking to the chief of Shanghai boards, and they were talking about computerization and so on. So I was quite surprised. Their system which they had installed had a capacity to store easily and comfortably data for more than 8 crore investors and the associated transactions of it. So I said, do you have 8 crore investors? So he said, no, we have only 3 crore, but more Chinese are becoming richer and they will purchase shares. So we are planning that way. Now, if you ask me, that is long-term planning. He told me then how the Chinese government spends money in advising average Chinese citizens that apart from other methods of saving, you should invest here. I think the SEBI should take a lead to ensure, because you see more Indians are becoming rich now, and we are also a growing community. If you look at the total number of Indian investors who invest in stock market, is a very small minuscule percentage of our total population. On the other hand, you look at any one of the Western countries, established countries, the percentage is much higher. Using technology today, it is, and I am not talking of mundane emails and so on, web pages, advertisements, digital focus. Just look at how some of the institutions like, for example, Bombay Stock Exchange, I remember when Ashish Chauhan, who is now CEO of NSE, I had the privilege of being his teacher in IIT when he was a student there. Now look at the way he has single-handedly tried to popularize stock market investment by conducting training programs, all through digital means. I think SEBI can do a lot more. It is my wish that in future years, SEBI should become the root cause of exponentially increasing the number of Indian investors into the Indian stock markets.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing such insightful perspectives. I am sure you must be having many such stories to share, but we would like to stop here. Thank you, sir, very much, sir.
Thank you.